So I'm sure we can all agree one of, if not the biggest comic book tropes, besides characters dying and coming back to life, has to be trauma in their backstories. And trauma within the superhero community is basically like a starter pack for heroism and villainy. I mean, some of these are super recognizable. For example, you have Batman and his parents, or Superman leaving his exploding world of Krypton as a baby, or you have even, it gets really dark, with Magneto growing up as a Holocaust survivor in World War II. And then you have, like, the Punisher losing his family and basically turning to a life of, well, punishing. But you get the point, though. There are more than enough characters with tragic backgrounds in comics that define who they are, and that's 100% fine. I mean, trust me, I'm not trying to change Batman's backstory. So Across the Spider-Verse has made me ask, like, a burning question, or at least a lot of them, but one specifically being, do superheroes need deep trauma to be great? And I don't think so, or at least for the most part. Now, see, I have no issues with the trope inherently, but what I'm trying to get at with this movie, I guess, would be, is it always necessary? And that's where the movie comes in hand, basically. So, we get up into a certain point in these movies, and Miles only faced the loss of his uncle Aaron, aka the Prowler, who's basically a villain and a mentor to Miles. And then you have Peter Parker of this universe, who has died by the hands of the Kingpin into the Spider-Verse, the previous movie before this one. And as traumatizing as that sounds, I wouldn't say it really defined his character's actions overall. It wasn't his driving factor, or like his vengeance, if you will. And Hobie Brown actually states that pretty well himself within the movie.
Why you want to be part of this lot?
To get a watch.
Make your own watch. But you got a nice setup, huh? Nice parents.
They're fine. I mean, we got in a fight, but they just want what's best for me. So,
That's a bloody shame.
why?
Because you're not ready for everybody else.
Further progressing into this part of the movie, we finally meet Miguel OHara. Again, that is, we see him in the beginning when he's fighting Vulture and trying to suck the blood out of him like Renfield style. Hold up. Who wrote this script? So back on track, the Blue Panther basically lowers down from his station, brooding like he just got out of a screening of the Batman 2022, and he's met with Miles and the crew with Gwen, and Hobie, basically. And then he explains to Miles that essentially Spider-Men operate on a different wavelength in the multiverse. They're not on the same branch that everybody else is, but they're more of like a web of life and destiny, and therefore we get to a point where it's shown that each Spider-Man exists because of their own personal past traumas, showing us our Uncle Ben's and our Peter from Earth 65, Uncle Aaron, and both iterations of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So with Miles realizing that Gwen's dad will also die by becoming captain of the police force, he's like, listen, my dad, he's about to become captain, and is anything going to happen to him? And then Miguel is like, listen, 2 days from now, your father's going to die by the hands of the Spot, and then you're going to defeat the Spot. And as Miguel is telling Miles this, he's getting surrounded by the Spider Society, and then we have them going back and forth with Miles being like, I can go back and save them, but then Miguel's like, nah, I can't let you do that, kid. So Miles is like, no, I'm going to do my own thing, and then, boom. Miles is stuck in a shield contraption by 2099, and they argue outside about his situation, in front of him, calling him a kid still. So then that's where, my man Hobie comes in, and he's a W man. He reminds Miles about the electricity and absorbing it through your palms instead of your fingertips, and then, we have a giant, massive scene that erupts, where he escapes, and he's running throughout the Spider Society, and basically trying to get out of there. But, this just kind of shows me that Miles very well can have both. He doesn't have to have a whole Spider Society of people who have lost their loved ones, respectfully telling him what makes a Spider-Man in the universe. Even with knowing the potential consequences, he's still willing to try whatever is necessary to save the ones that are close to him, so he's challenging the odds here. So going through all that chase and stuff from the Spider Society, he finally makes it to the universe that he thinks is his own, but turns out to be where the spider was originally from that bit him, and stuff basically goes downhill from there. We see that Prowler in this universe is actually Miles because he didn't have that spider bite him, and it just gets spun into a whole ordeal of things. So I think this is where the movie, is going to head into with Beyond the Spider-Verse. It could be a great place of not only giving us a way diverse Spider-Man in the bigger media still, but it also breaks us away from that necessity of making a character good because of their trauma in their past. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give newer characters a squeaky clean origin story, but at the same time, you don't have to make it so dark to the sense of unrelatability with viewers and comic book readers, I think Miles works for many reasons, including the fact that, he still has both of his parents. Just because of the fact doesn't mean he can't struggle, because we clearly see that he does in the movie. He struggles with being accepted and not being able to fully be understood by his parents, along with the responsibility of being a much younger and essentially alone version of Spider-Man in his universe. And that's why I think Miles can open up a new way for relatable comic book characters for our foreseeable future, breaking this constant trope of traumatic backstories. So with that out of the way, I hope you guys like this short video. I decided to mock it up. I didn't want to break down the entire movie or go too heavy into something, so I just picked one of the moments that really stuck out with me in this movie after the fact, and I hope you guys liked it, and tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know your opinions on this. So I'll see you in the next one, and peace out. Hold up 1 second. Doesn't Miles' mom and his universe die in the comics, though?